What's up guys, and welcome back with some more Genshin Impact, and today we're going to be checking out Vars 2's video of why no one plays Qiqi. Now of course, just keep in mind these videos aren't meant to bash the characters or anything like that. It's just why a lot of people don't play a specific character basically. So as always, if you enjoy this video, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. The original video will be in the description box below as always. Always want to give credit. And let's get right into this video, because Qiqi is a character that I don't play as, but I know a lot of people, they're miserable when they pull Qiqi. Well, mainly because they're trying to get the 5-star character on the banner, so when they see Qiqi, they're just like, oh god, why?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Why No One Plays. The past two iterations were on Xinyan and Lisa, two 4-star characters, so we're gonna go back and cover a 5-star unit for today. Let's dive into the character whose name is escaping me at the moment. Oh yeah, I remember, it's Qiqi. Sorry, I couldn't help it, I had to make that joke at least once. If this is your first time watching a Why No One Plays episode on my channel, to all the Qiqi mains out there, I'd like to make it very clear this video is not a personal attack. I have no desire to admonish you or anyone for using her, nor do I believe she's an objectively bad character. The goal of the series is to discuss characters who aren't used very much by the general player base, analyzing from the perspective of those who don't use her, why she's unpopular, and hopefully try to figure out what we can do to improve or fix her gameplay. Many people tend to not be aware of the actual gameplay flaws within a character that make them quote-unquote bad. They just get told by the community that the character is bad.
That's very true. People will just be like, oh my god, this character's so trash, and then that's it, just F it, dude, People will do that with Yoimiya and stuff, or they'll just start bashing her, and I'm like, dude, do you even know what's wrong with Yoimiya, or do you just say that just because everybody else says it? That's one thing about the Genshin community. Not everybody in it, but those deficits, you guys know what I mean. The Twitter people.
Yes, I will be going over her synergy with the Clam artifact set, so don't worry. Qiqi's reputation in Genshin is one of disappointment. Out of the 5 permanently available 5-stars, Diluc, Qiqi, Jean, Mona, and Qiqi, she's almost undoubtedly the one people hope they don't get.
Yeah, that's very true.
Significantly by more modern units, they're not as good anymore, but each of them still have a purpose. Qiqi and Diluc are still relatively serviceable as main DPS units if you're just starting out. Jean is an all-around solid support. She can crowd control enemies with her elemental skill, and her ultimate is a part of heal plus animal cleanse. She's very consistent at both too. Mona is more on the niche side, but there's no one better at amplifying vaporize reactions than her. Then there's Qiqi, who's also a healer. To lay down some context on the gameplay faults, I want to go through all of her talents in detail as they painfully illustrate why she's unpopular. So let's begin with her elemental skill. Adeptus Art Herald of Frost. It conjures what appears to be a ball of ice, dealing a small amount of cryo damage to nearby enemies before orbiting around the active character, periodically swinging around dealing repeated cryo damage for 15 seconds. During that time, the active character regenerates health, scaling based on Qiqi's attack. If she's the active member, her normal and charge attacks heal her party, and if you're in co-op, nearby allied players with each hit. The damage numbers aren't very substantial, but the healing isn't the worst I've seen. It's enough to keep most players topped off. There's just one thing missing. Her skill produces no energy charge, quite odd considering almost every other elemental skill gives you at least a few particles. Moreover, it has an astounding 30-second cooldown. Sacrificial Sword is a must on her, unless you're one of the lucky few with a Skyward Blade.
I have a Skyward Blade.
It's the most amazing skill I've seen. In fact, there are a lot of 4-star units with far more impactful ones than hers, a recurring theme you may notice as we continue further. Adeptus Art Preserver of Fortune is her elemental burst, a huge blast of cryo damage in an area that inflicts a talisman on anyone struck by it. Attacking a marked enemy heals the character who dealt the damage on a 1-second cooldown. Unlike her Herald of Frost, the healing from her marks is nothing short of incredible. You can easily regenerate several thousands of health with each hit. As for the damage with this ability, it's okay I guess, and the cooldown is only 20 seconds, the same as most other supports. Okay, so the elemental skill lets her heal people, elemental burst lets her heal people, what else we got? Life prolonging methods. Elemental reactions increase her incoming healing bonus by 20% while Qiqi's skill is active, basically more healing. A glimpse into Arcanum. Qiqi's auto attacks have a 50% chance to mark an enemy with a talisman every 30 seconds, basically more healing. Healing. That's all she does.
No healing, buffs, no
yes. Debuffs, just healing.
Just healing, just straight up healing.
Make no mistake, but it's just healing. Besides periodically applying cryo damage to enemies.
So basically what I'm getting from here, like he just said, just healing, so there's not really anything else going on, so that's probably why, you rather just use other characters that are able to heal and actually help you out with doing other things, because there is characters like that in this game, obviously.
She doesn't really do anything other than heal her party. By looking at her base talents
I could use Kokomi. I could use her and she does good damage now.
Barbara, but for cryo instead of hydro. She's the dedicated healer to end all dedicated healers. Her entire kit is predicated on health regeneration, which if you remember my episode on Kokomi is not in very high demand at the moment. Genshin Impact is not a test of endurance, it's a DPS race. I sound like a broken record by now, but the game's existing content does not necessitate healing to that extent.
That is true. I mean, they're trying to take it into that direction, and I said this in like another video. I don't remember exactly where I was saying it, but the way that the game's going, with them adding enemies in, like these wolves that do like bleed affect you and stuff, yeah, it's gonna start depending more on healing and stuff like that. Like, that's the only way. Like, Genshin, like with the new areas and maybe the chasm, I don't know how the chasm's gonna end up being with enemies, but they'll really have to switch up like the meta, like with the enemies that they give us, if they don't want it to be a DPS race of how, you know, Vars was just mentioning. So yeah, I definitely agree with what he's saying, but slowly but surely, I feel like with like bosses and stuff that have this bleeding effect, like that big wolf that we fight, they're definitely trying to make people use healers more often.
In other words, for healing support to be worth considering, they have to provide something that can either directly or indirectly augment a party's combat efficiency in some way, shape, or form. At the very least, serve as a battery for your team, which Qiqi can't even do as she doesn't generate particles with her skill or auto
So she's
attacks.
pretty freaking
Perhaps
useless
the
in that sense.
Constellations can remedy this. What do we have to work with? Ascetics of Frost gives Qiqi 2 energy whenever Herald of Frost hits a talisman marked enemy, not the active character, just her. Frozen to the Bone increases her normal and charge attack damage against cryo-afflicted opponents by 15%. Just one thing, she's not a damage dealer, she's a support. That would be as useful as Zhongli getting a 15% attack boost. Divine Suppression lowers the attack of marked targets by 20%. Finally, our first somewhat useful non-healing buff, except damage reduction pertains to your party's survivability, which is redundant for her because she renders your active character virtually indestructible through all her different regenerations. Now, Rite of Resurrection does have something that might be of use, especially in Spiral Abyss where the usage of curatives is forbidden. Casting her ultimate revives all fallen party members and juices them to half health. It's a 15-minute cooldown, but that's quite game-changing. No other unit has a built-in revive.
That is true. Nobody else has a revive.
Oh wait, no, there's Max Constellation Barbara. I forgot about that. But once
wait,
again,
Barbara does that too?
Situationally amazing.
I didn't even remember that.
It's on a character who provides nothing but healing. No boost to your damage, no increased ease of elemental
So it's like, when are you
reactions,
really gonna even be using that? If you, yeah, like, if anything, they probably should have put that revive constellation on characters that people would use more often. Oh, I just dropped my water bottle. Wonderful. But like, and once again, I don't want to bash any Qiqi players or anything, but like, realistically, I know a lot of people aren't using Qiqi, so it's just, it's a waste of a constellation, honestly. And like Barbara too. And that's no offense to anybody that plays Barbara either. But if we're gonna be realistic and look at this from like a non-biased standpoint, we know a lot of people aren't playing as Barbara, especially now. When you start the game, sure, but after that, nah. Most people aren't.
Crowd control, no super armor, no elemental cleanse. Absolutely
But once again, real quick, always, like, I always say to people, play whoever the hell you want to play. Like, don't feel bad for playing a character if you enjoy playing them, but we're just looking at like the statistics and the facts here.
There is a plethora of
always want to make that be known.
Well known for the supportive capabilities. Reason being is that they cover multiple bases, thus increasing their consistency. Yes, in a situation where survival is the X factor, not DPS, Qiqi will undoubtedly outperform anyone. She's literally the best healer in the game, no question about that. But therein lies
that's all she
why
does.
People would rather play anyone else but her. Healing at the moment is too situational. It's kind of like buying a $200 piping bag to put icing on your cake. It's a very handy tool if you enjoy baking, but unless you
only use it when you're baking.
Service, how often does the average person bake a cake that warrants them wanting to buy a $200 piping bag? Kokomi's shining virtue is that she's a battle healer. While sustaining her party, she can temporarily serve as a competent sub-DPS. Players who have her can attest to this. Does she carry the same power as Child? No, but you can provide your team some much-needed sustenance without sacrificing too much DPS uptime.
Exactly.
Even as far as healing is concerned, consistency becomes a problem. Notice how all of her different healing properties are contingent on damaging an opponent, the important heals anyway. Unlike Barbara or Jean's Burst, which is a party-wide heal on cast, Qiqi's Fortune Preserver doesn't actually juice up her team. This means switching between your party members one by one and getting some damage in. That's too much uptime lost. She's only able to heal each member simultaneously if she's the one doing damage. Unlike Kokomi though, she doesn't do any damage at all. To maintain your uptime while using Qiqi, the active member has to attack, and there's a chance they're likely already at low HP, putting them at risk of accidentally getting killed if you're not careful. Furthermore, her elemental skill cooldown is too long. Both her passive talent and skill have a 30-second cooldown, with neither aspect lasting even more than half that amount of time. Conversely, if we were to look at Jean, her Dandelion Breeze is effectively a full party heal every 20 seconds, much more consistent. She can also regenerate token amounts of health with Wind Companion just by existing, whereas Qiqi needs her skill active. That and Jean accumulates energy like a champ. Qiqi doesn't even have the means to get her elemental burst back up after she uses it. Now if you're looking for cryo application support, then Diona might as well just be a better version of her in that regard. Her signature
Yeah,
is a
okay.
lot like
I was
Ben's
gonna.
Fantastic
That was
Voyage.
something I was also gonna mention. I'm like, I know a lot of people that just much rather use Diona. Like that is something that I've heard plenty of times before. They're like, nah, Qiqi, Diona. Yeah, just give me Diona instead. I'll definitely choose her.
You continuously regenerate health, and enemies who stand in it take repeated cryo damage. Her icy paws also give you a shield to protect yourself even further. Additionally, what's funny is that Drunkard's Farce is essentially Qiqi's 4th constellation. It's 10% less attack, but you don't have to spend like $800 for 4 constellations. By no means am I implying Diona can match Qiqi's level of healing, but where in Genshin are you taking 30,000 damage per second? Nowhere. Her heals and shields do the job just fine. That's the same logic.
If you got no artifacts on, you're taking 30,000 damage.
As much as Qiqi, but 1, they don't have to, and 2, they make up for it by doing more damage. In an action RPG hack and slash, the best defense is a strong offense. The faster you take down your opponents, the less damage they'll do to you in total.
Exactly.
Okay, by now I'm sure many of you are pulling your hair out waiting for me to talk about her synergy with the clam set. I'm just getting to that. For the uninitiated, Ocean-Hued Clam is an artifact set obtained in Slumbering Court, which is located on Seidai Island where you fight the Electro version of Ocean-Hued. The 2-piece set effect grants you a simple 15% healing bonus, similar to Maiden Beloved's 2-piece. As for the 4-piece set bonus, that's where things get really interesting. When the character equipped with this set heals someone...
Can we just talk about how, before he goes into detail, can we just talk about how much text that artifact set has? I used this artifact set on Kokomi, and holy crap, like it works really good on her, but geez, who the hell wrote this? Who wrote this and was like, yeah, this is perfect. We're not gonna dumb it down a little bit or just make it, make it shorter.
A sea-dyed foam will appear for 3 seconds, accumulating the amount of total healing. So if you heal 2000 HP, it will store 2000 HP, even if the character didn't heal for 2000 HP, if that makes sense. After 3 seconds, the foam explodes, dealing damage to nearby opponents based on 90% of the stored amount, and it has a 3.5 second cooldown. You can hold up to 30,000 health per sea-dyed foam, and the effect can be triggered without the equipped unit being the active member. I don't know about you, but that has Qiqi's name written all over it. She has virtually no active healing, her entire shtick is off-field healing, and as previously established, when it comes to strictly healing, there's no one better than her, not unless you have a decked out Kokomi, which I know very few people do, as almost no one pulled for her. To his credit,
I did. I pulled for her. I made it pretty
Qiqi
good.
Being her non-existent damage output. 30,000 damage isn't the most, but for support it's enough to contribute several 100,000 over the course of a drawn-out fight. I haven't used it myself, but I definitely see the potential. This set was able to unlock Kokomi's potential drastically. She's quite powerful as a sub-DPS now. Unfortunately, there's a key difference between the two. Kokomi already had the potential to do good damage, she just needed a bit more, whereas Qiqi had no damage and now has a little. You can think of it as a B student becoming an A student versus a D student becoming a C student. This grading system might sound confusing to those not in North America, but for the former, going from an 85 percentile to a 95 makes a massive difference in their academic standing. But if you average like a 65% and move up to 75, it's an improvement, but hardly anyone will think of you that differently. That's the mentality Genshin players have. Qiqi's damage definitely went up, but she had no damage to begin with. That
so I mean,
just a crutch for her.
It's still not good. It's damage, but it's still not good.
Frankly
though.
Speaking, if we exclude Aloy and Traveler, she's the worst 5-star in the game. Is she useless? No, but other characters just offer so much more. Bennett gives you healing and an attack boost, Jean gives you healing, crowd control, and animal cleanse, and if you manage to get her up to C4, you get bonus movement and attack speed as well as 40% animal resistance reduction.
Yeah, I don't think I have a
serious.
C4.
Diona gives
Jean.
you healing, shielding, more consistent cryo application, and that sweet 200 elemental mastery. Kokomi has healing and damage output, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but even Barbara is better than Qiqi in a lot of instances. She gets 15% bonus hydro damage on set 2, and has the exact same revive mechanic that Qiqi does, albeit to only one person. But she's a 4-star, you can max Constellation her in a single banner as opposed to dumping a month's rent. What really sucks about Qiqi is that much of her low usability stems from the fact that she's a 5-star. If she was a 4-star, I would genuinely think she'll see more play because you can max her Constellation a lot more easily. Constellation 6 can come in very handy in the foreseeable future if only you could get her to that point. People don't like getting Qiqi off banner because they know that she's only worth investing in if you get 7 copies of her, not 2 or 3 or 4. For all intents and purposes, it's a dead pull. She doesn't get that much better from C1 to C5. though I feel like we as the community are spoiled by all the new 5 stars.
That
the
is
original
true.
5 stars have pretty lame constellations across the board in comparison to the new ones. Max Constellation Xiao breaks the game. Just by attacking 2 opponents, you get a free use of lemniscatic wind cycling. Ganyu C6 as well. She gets an instant charge level 2 aim shot just by using her E. Hell, their base forms are pretty broken, let alone their constellations.
Yeah, I ain't gonna have a C6 for either of them probably ever.
Might come off as disingenuous after explaining all the reasons why there's almost no incentive to use her over any other support. The goal of Why No One Plays is to encourage players to give them a try by laying out all their flaws and then letting you decide if you're willing to put up with it for a new experience. As an answer to that, there is one possible way we can see Qiqi's viability go up, and that's enemy power creep. From what we've seen so far in newer iterations of Spiral Abyss, and the new areas like Inazuma and Enkanomiya, monsters are becoming more deadly. We're starting to run into situations where small healers like Bennett are not quite able to top off a team by themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was mentioning with the wolves and stuff.
So we'll eventually
got the bleeding
get to a point
effect
where a dedicated healer will soon be a requirement. I'm not sure if that'll bring Qiqi up to the same level of usefulness as Jean or Kokomi.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll still be using my Kokomi though, and if anything I might build Jean also.
To be future-proof to some extent. That said, she's still blatantly underpowered and needs buffs. There are 3 really major issues that should be addressed. 1. Her lack of any semblance of energy regeneration, unacceptable for her support to not be self-sustaining. 2. She has no offensive or even defensive benefit. As an example of defensive, even with the introduction of Rift Hounds,
oh, wait a
still
sec.
vastly better than healing since they also grant you super armor, meaning you don't get knocked back or staggered from attacks, thus indirectly boosting your damage uptime as you don't need to dodge. And 3. She has very unforgiving cooldowns.
I don't know why they put a character in this game that is just straight up, here, healing, you're not good at anything else. Good luck, and we're gonna make her a 5-star, so if you pull on her, you're gonna be pissed. I mean, maybe that's why they did it, though. They had to put something in that we didn't want, I guess, I don't know. And I just don't understand it. They should have at least put something with her that she'd be decent at other than healing. Like I said, there's no offensive or defensive benefit, and then even when you get her to like a certain point, like with that new artifact set, like for Kokomi, if you put that on freaking Qiqi, like he said, you're only going to be doing like a little bit of damage now. Like you go from a D to a C grade. So it's like, is it even worth it, you know? At that point, just get Kokomi or something, or use Jean, you know? Like, or Diona. Even though Qiqi's would be a better healer, but at least Diona could heal and deal some damage, you know?
Problem 1 can be fixed by simply making our Herald of Frost generate energy on cast. That's like a basic right all Genshin characters have at this point. I fail to understand why they thought Qiqi shouldn't be allowed to have that. Problem 3 is also an easy one, and we can even incorporate some skill expression behind it. Perhaps have it so every time Herald of Frost damages an enemy on orbit, her skill cooldown decreases by 1 second. It swings twice, 4 times for a total of 8. Since the ability itself lasts 15 seconds and the cooldown is 30, by staying in combat for the whole duration, the effective cooldown goes from 15 seconds to 7, much more manageable. Problem 2 will be a bit more complex to fix. A lot of supports are overpowered because they do too much. We don't want to create another Bennett, and we also don't want Qiqi to be too similar to Diona. So instead, I'll leave it up to you guys. If you were to give any extra buffs to Qiqi, what would they be and where should they go? Should they passively be included in her base form or locked behind Constellations? Let me know in the comments down below. But I think we're gonna end it off here for today. If you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you gave it a like and subscribed. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, join my Discord server, and check out my previous Why No One Plays episodes if you haven't
Show them
yet.
some love, you know?
For now, thank you all so much for watching, and
we checked out the Aloy one though.
Soon for the next episode. Take care.
Alright. There we have it, everybody. There we have it. Why No One Plays Qiqi. Yeah, the song that was playing was very soothing, let me say. But yeah, Qiqi. Yeah, it's just super weird, like I was just saying before, how they ended up making her and stuff. Like, maybe they did that on purpose, like I said, to just have a character that maybe not as many people would want to pull for. Or maybe just because they were starting off with the game, they didn't really just think about it too much and realize, oh crap, this character really doesn't do anything else. Who knows? Maybe, like, Qiqi will be more, like, useful in the future, but even then, I mean, there's better healers that have other things they could do other than healing too, and still be very efficient. So, I mean, you guys let me know in the comment section down below if you agree with this, if you disagree, if you play as Qiqi, if you hate Qiqi, whatever the case is. But this isn't, like, the purpose, once again, of this video was to just talk about the facts and everything. This was not to bash any Qiqi player. If you love Qiqi and you feel like she's great, hey, you keep doing your thing. I'm completely fine with it, you know? I'm not here to make you feel like trash or anything. I'm in vars, I know for sure isn't here to try to make you feel like crap or anything about liking a character. Like, I liked Kokomi before the artifact even came out. Like, I was a Kokomi fan, and I pulled on the banner. I'm a Yoimiya fan, you know? I get characters that I just like, and I just roll with them and try to make them work as best as I can. So, yeah, that is about it for today's video. You already know the deal. Be sure to show some love to vars too. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoyed my reaction to this. Subscribe if you're new. We're really trying to hit that 4,000 subscriber mark. Notification bell, Discord server in the description box below. We have a Genshin Impact playlist, and we have a Genshin Impact theory playlist also of videos that we've checked out. So any support's greatly appreciated. Tell anybody you can about the channel. And other than that, appreciate y'all, love y'all, stay safe, and as I always say, don't do crack.
Be sure to subscribe to the Special K Experience if you enjoyed this video. If not, you're going to Femboy IHOP.